Good morning. Today on Spotlight, getting Detroiters ready for the 9th annual Aging Matters Education and Expo. Why is it so important and who should attend? We'll talk to the nationally acclaimed keynote speaker of the event, Raymond Jetson, the founder of Aging While Black. He'll join us from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And later, celebrating two Detroit keepers of music. It's Sunday, July the 14th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. Mr. Jetson, thank you for joining us from Baton Rouge, Louisiana today on Spotlight. Good seeing you. I know that that's your home, but you're headed to Detroit in just a couple of weeks. Why so?
I am excited to join the wonderful people who are preparing for the Aging Matters Expo. I have been graciously invited to deliver the keynote address, but I am really coming to meet people in the Detroit area who are concerned about aging well.
This is something that you talk on all over the country. You've also done TED Talks, and you've been on Bing and a lot of social media. How did you get into all of this, and what is the message you want to deliver?
Well, first of all, it is a part of my own personal aging journey. I penned a piece a few years ago saying I've arrived at 65 and nothing is as I thought it would be. And I began to explore just the aging landscape. And it was at this intersection of aging and race that I recognized that much like every other aspect of the Black experience in America, aging was different for us. And that led me on a path that ultimately launched Aging While Black.
How so is aging different for people of color?
There's one theory in aging that says that both advantage and disadvantage are cumulative. And so over time, systemic inequities, lack of access to resources, poor education systems, disrupted work histories, lower wages. It's not reasonable to expect that many people who have experienced these realities throughout their life would all of a sudden arrive at older ages and then begin to thrive, left to their own wares. The reality is that when you look at the experiences of Black elders in this country, we are dying earlier. We have lower retirement accounts. We have lower Social Security benefits. We have cancer at double the rates and a number of other realities. Now, this is not the exclusive experience of older Black people in America, but it is a significant one. And in my opinion, the current framing of aging in America and the aging ecosystem does not adequately take these factors into consideration.
When you come here, you oftentimes will be talking about three pillars. What are the three pillars that you'll be talking about at the Aging Conference on August the 1st at Fellowship Chapel?
So the three pillars of Aging While Black are recalibrate the village, embrace innovation and rapid change, and lean into Sankofa. In recalibrate the village, the argument that we put forth is that the infrastructure that supports Black life, particularly older Black life, is ill prepared for the huge shift in aging trends that have already begun. And it is urgent that we become intentional about addressing that infrastructure. The embracing rapid change and innovation says to us that the world around us is changing at just exponentially each and every day, and it's deeply rooted in technology and innovation. And our elders are neither totally competent or confident as a community in navigating the world of technology? And do we need a strategy, a comprehensive strategy to increase not only literacy, but confidence in navigating technology? And leaning into Sankofa is this notion of the wisdom of the elders is something that is to be treasured and valued and systemically embraced in our communities.
Mr. Jetson, would it be fair to say that at some point, everybody is going to have to deal with caregiving in one way or another, whether it's for ourselves or it's for someone else? We all, if we're lucky to live long enough, are going to have to deal with aging in one respect or another. But is it also safe to say that most folks don't start dealing with this at an early age with a bona fide plan, and they wait until it actually hits, and then it's like, it's time to start dealing with this?
So that caregiving challenge, which is a huge issue in aging while Black in America, is showing up in so many ways. A significant portion of our caregiving is personally delivered. It's not done by the aging ecosystem. It's family members who, as you pointed out, Mr. Stokes, are not really prepared for it. They don't anticipate it. I am the primary caregiver for my 90-year-old mom.
Wow.
It's not something that I thought that I would be doing at this time. And my mom, like so many others, is in that space where she makes too much money to avail herself to the government systems that are in place, but not enough to really create the most conducive environment for her well-being. But another interesting nuance that's happening in caregiving across this country is young people, children, and youth as caregivers. They were brought in by their grandparents to be raised. The grandparents are being impacted by dementia or other declining health issues. And we're seeing young people, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, who are now being placed in the position of being primary caregivers. It's also a major factor in why people have lower Social Security benefits because their work histories are disrupted by caregiving and other aspects. So it is a huge reality. It's one of those areas that the village has to be recalibrated if we are going to be able to sustain the huge trends in older Black people who are going to be showing up, have already begun to show up in our communities.
Well said. We're going to take a quick little break here, quick pause for the calls. We'll hurry right back with some more questions. I want to talk to you a little bit more about your background, as well as drilling down on this conference and how people can get involved and what they should expect at the conference. We'll be right back right after this. And welcome back to Spotlight, talking to Raymond A. Jetson. He is founder of Aging While Black. He's headquartered in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but he'll be headed to the Motor City in a very short period of time. Let me ask you, this conference is put on by the Detroit Caregivers Support Collaborative. It's an education and an expo coming up on August the 1st at Fellowship Chapel, which everyone in this area knows well. The Church of the Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, president of the Detroit NAACP. There are going to be 3 workshops. How will those break down, and who should attend this?
So let me first of all say, as you pointed, I travel across this country, sharing at conferences, doing workshops, delivering keynote addresses. This Aging Matters Expo is one of the most well-organized, most thoughtfully structured conferences that I have encountered anywhere in America. And Ms. Rencher and the team putting this conference together should be commended. And it would be a tragedy if you are concerned about aging and miss this conference.
And we should also add, not to interrupt you, we should make sure people know that the conference is free. You do need to be registered, but there are a couple different ways to register. We'll put the website on the screen as well as the
Yeah.
phone number so people can get that information if they want to touch base beforehand. And they are doing walk-ins, correct?
Correct. And that free is probably the most impressive feature of this, because I have done keynote addresses and workshops in cities where not nearly this depth of information cost people to access. And so kudos again to the team that's put this together. So there are workshops on essential elder planning, home and community-based services and tools and technology for caregiving, things that actually align with the pillars that we talked about in the earlier segment of aging while Black. And so there are practical, the practical unfolding, access to information, providers of these services will be present. And so there's just this cornucopia of information and connections that are accessible there. So people who are caregivers, current caregivers, people who can see caregiving on the horizon, people who anticipate needing a caregiver should attend. Those who want to stay abreast to this rapidly changing reality that is aging while Black in America should be attending the conference.
Sure.
That includes congregations, community organizations, fraternities, sororities, uh, civic associations, Masonic associations. Our community needs to understand that aging will impact whatever you are doing, regardless to what it is.
Yeah, and we should probably also emphasize while the focus is on aging while Black, you don't have to be Black or a person of color to attend. And there's probably a wealth of information to get if you're not someone of color, just because the topic is something that affects everyone in different proportions, but it certainly affects everyone. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. The realities are, when you look at history, that things that support the liberation and access to opportunities for Black people open doors for everybody. We are not selfish in our pursuit of well-being and the ability to thrive. Our realities are universal. We're not the only people who are dealing with inequity. We're not the only folks who are facing disparities, but we are a huge segment of that reality in this country.
You do this on a national basis, which you've said. You are the AARP's winner of the Purpose Prize Award. You are a former state legislator there in Louisiana, and you're the deputy director of the Department of Health in Louisiana at one time. So you have a wealth of information and a wealth of background in terms of your career. Why are you leading this national movement, and do you feel as though you're being successful with it, that it's making a dent and people are catching on across America?
Thank you for that question. I am leading this movement and becoming the drum major for this reality because I believe the scriptures are correct. There is a time and a season for everything. You mentioned I've worn a number of hats. Every one of them that I was in, I gave my absolute best to because I thought that that was my assignment in that season. I believe that this is my assignment in this season. Aging, there are 10,000, now 11,000 people a day turning 65 in America, and that will continue until the year 2040. The Census Bureau is projecting that by mid 2035, for the first time in America's history, there will be more people over the age of 65 than under the age of 18. There is a huge shift happening, and it's happening in an important way in Black communities. And I believe that it's my assignment to work with people across this country to make certain that Black elders have the opportunity to thrive in every aspect of their life.
Mr. Jetson, we need to take one more quick break here. We'll come right back with a couple final questions right after this. Raymond Jetson from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, will be coming to Detroit on August 1st for an important aging conference. You can get the information by going to agingmattersexpo.com or call 313-937-8291. One of the people that will be joining you in this day-long expo will be Dr. Marilyn Herbert. You've been involved with her for quite some time, and the two of you are on this journey together, correct?
This is absolutely correct. The wonderful Dr. Marilyn French Hubbard has been an architect of aging while Black from the very beginning. When we launched and announced Aging While Black at the On Aging Conference in Atlanta in 2023, we hosted a very small and intimate conversation with a few people to talk about what this could be. And Dr. Hubbard was a part of that. And so she has been a friend, an advisor, a supporter, an encourager from the beginning of this work. She's also been doing some really important work with congregations around the issue of caregiving. She is a living example of what recalibrating the village looks like in a very practical way.
Let me ask you a question. We are in an important presidential election year. Age is a key issue in this race, regardless of how people feel good or bad about it. It's certainly something that we hear every day. We also know that the major electorate in this country, people who traditionally are dependable voters, are people who are quote unquote considered senior citizens, those of us who carry AARP cards. Do you feel as though the age issue is being dealt with in the proper perspective as we deal with this very important election year? Or is age almost getting a bad rap?
I think that we are dealing with the matter of age in the absolute worst way possible in this political construct, because we've allowed the aging to be a placeholder for what is really a conversation about cognitive abilities and whether someone has the ability. And that reality can impact you whether you're 81 or 51. And there are a lot of 80-year-olds, 78-year-olds who are absolutely on top of their game mentally and sharp. And so I think it is totally unfair to characterize cognitive decline, if you believe that that is the case, with someone's age. And so I think that it's being handled in the absolute worst way possible for this important conversation around aging in America. And my hope is that those of us who have been carrying our AARP cards before it became cool to have an AARP card, that those of us who still carry one will make clear that that distinction is heard in this conversation.
Sponsorship is very important for these type of conferences. I know they have some key sponsors involved in this. If you had to send a message to other organizations, businesses, on why it's important for them to also be involved in this, regardless of the city, what would you say?
Older people are either your customers, your intended customers, they are related to your customers, they are the procurers of your goods and services, they are anchors in their communities. Aging is a new reality in the significant way that it's showing up now. I believe that it's important to support work like this conference and other realities that are connecting with aging in America.
Raymond Jetson, founder of Aging While Black from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Thank you so much for joining us today on Spotlight. Look forward to hopefully meeting you when you come here in a couple of weeks on August the 1st. and best of luck in your national crusade to make people much more aware of aging and the key issues surrounding aging. And we appreciate you joining us today via Zoom.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it greatly.
It's our pleasure. And when Spotlight returns, we'll turn our attention to two treasures of Detroit music. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Detroiters love their music, so don't forget the July 24th tribute concert at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, saluting the legendary radio and jazz career of WDET's Ed Love. For more information, go to the Aretha website. And finally today, our condolences to the family and many friends of Detroit musician Wilbert Peagle, who passed away last week. For decades, he was a fixture on the Detroit music scene. He proudly played that piano at probably every music venue in the city, including the historic DAC and Baker's Keyboard Lounge. And I remember well the time he graced our studio here at Channel 7 for our holiday show in 2013. And an afternoon I spent with him riding in his beloved vintage Excalibur. What year is this Excalibur?
It's a 1978.
1978.
Right, this year it will be 33 years old.
Wow.
Coming up.
How many miles did it have when you purchased it?
When I purchased it, it was slightly under 10,000. And I have 29,000 on it now.
You don't drive it much. This is just for fun, right?
It's just for fun.
And also the time we spent at Baker's. He was as good of a gourmet chef as he was at playing the keys on that piano. He will be missed by many, but left all of us great memories. Have a great week.